Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Amy V. Cooper, and I am a photography business consultant and personal coach. And today I am so excited to introduce you all to Cedric Terrell, a Los Angeles-based fashion and lifestyle photographer and director who I discovered when I was researching my report on photography directories and source books, which you can all find on my blog. Cedric, thank you so much for being with me today. Tell us a little bit more about you and how you got started in visual arts.
Sure. Thanks for having me. For starters, where do I start? So I guess the easiest way to explain it is that I had an opportunity after high school. I joined the military, and had opportunity to live abroad. So I knew that I was going to be living abroad for 3 years, and so I wanted to document that. It really started off as a way of just capturing images that I could share with my family and friends on Facebook and MySpace, and it quickly sort of spiraled out of control, and I kind of became obsessed. I bought my first real camera, what I call my first real camera, my first Nikon digital SLR when I moved to Beijing. And it seems like every year after that, I would sort of upgrade to something a little bit more, and eventually decided that I would leave the military and become a photographer full time. So that, I was fully committed to sort of the creative arts. And I was a creative as a kid. I was in musical, I was in band and show choir, and I did all, sort of the performing arts, but not as much in the visual arts. So this was sort of a new sort of realm of creativity for me.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about the type of work that you've been doing in the past year and some of the brands you've been working with.
Yeah, so I have, at this point, I consider myself to be like a photographer that works in a space where lifestyle meets fashion, because it sort of, goes back and forth between those areas. In the past year, I've worked with Bonobos, I've worked with HelloFresh, but then on the lifestyle side, I've worked with um, Aetna Insurance, and I've done some military campaigns for Honda and Acura. So my work sort of is, again, in that sort of lifestyle fashion. Even if it's in a more lifestyle shoot, we're still thinking about the fashion elements and how they sort of come through.
hmm
Yeah.
And how would you say your experience or background in the military informs your photography, if at all?
Oh. I think it's often, there's certain habits I can't break, that the military is sort of ingrained in me, and sort of like the attention to detail, and really thinking about, problem solving always, always thinking about, okay, if this look doesn't work, or or something were to fail, or, something happens, what's our backup plan? And so that's always been sort of just a constant, sort of churning of the brain as we're on set and as we're producing shoots. And especially now during, being in quarantine, I have nothing to do but problem solve. So I'm trying to think of creative ways to shoot and deliver content to clients and make sure that everyone's safe. And I think that, that's just something that I'm thankful for, having had the time in the military, and being under pressure and having to react under pressure. Yeah.
Oh, that's really great. So we're recording this interview in May of 2020, and I actually noticed that you added a Produce Safely page to your website. Will you tell us a little bit more about that? And also, how have you been pivoting or communicating or working during the physical distancing?
Yeah. So I saw that, I said that in this, situation that we're in, I've been looking at like a lot of the agencies, to see how they're responding and how they're pivoting and how they're supporting their artists. And one thing that I found was interesting is that there's a lot of conversation about how to produce safely in your own home, and how to, what type of photography can you do in your own personal space that may be different than what you normally do, or maybe exactly the same. And so I was like, okay, what are my resources? What do I have around me? So I photographed my space, and I threw those images on my website, so that if someone were interested in the space that looked like mine, or for, if my partner would be a good model for a brand or a company, that, we're here and we're an option for that. But then to take it a step further, I've been working with my sort of tech team, and we've been establishing like a multi-camera system where, there's a camera on the makeup station, there's a camera on, on the actual set, there's a camera that shows another area of the space that allows us to maintain social distancing. It allows a client to still feel like they're there, and give real-time feedback. And again, that's that problem solving. And I think that could be a great solution. And I've seen a few different models of that, but we're trying to create one that works best for us. Yeah.
That's so smart. And you do have a beautiful space.
Thank you. Thank you.
So hopefully some people will take advantage of that. I think that's going to be so important moving forward, especially smart with the camera setup and allowing clients to be there without really being there. Good job on that.
Yeah, I mean, and we also look at it as like, this is a solution to a problem that existed before, COVID. It's like there was always, an art director who couldn't be on set, or someone who couldn't fly in from Atlanta, to be on set for a project. And it's like, oh, this is even just a great way after, things get back to normal, whatever that new normal is, to still be able to make the projects more inclusive and have a little bit more sort of that instant feedback. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I asked you if you would pull a few of your favorite images and tell us about them. Do you want to share your screen with us?
Sure, I can do that. Let's go here. Okay, yeah, this is. So this is one of last summer. I did a series that really sort of focused on the beauty of dark skin. As an African American photographer, I feel like I have, hope that I have an insight that allows me to capture skin in an interesting way and dark complexion and give it light or take away the light and really sort of show some dimension. So I did this series that was mostly studio based, but really sort of an interesting way for me to capture and showcase the beauty and the texture and the dimension within dark skin.
Gorgeous. I love how they're both a little bit different in the contrast and the lighting. Really beautiful.
Thank you. It was, I love with dance, with the image of on the left, I love to photograph dance and I love to incorporate that into a fashion shoot because you never know exactly what you're going to get. So when the lighting is very specific, the model moves to the left or to the right just a little bit and it's like a completely different image. And so that's always a fun sort of element to play within.
I love that. I mean, it looks like it's studio, but it also kind of looks like it's sunlight.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And so then I pulled out a very different image, which is very much commercial advertising campaign that I did. And this was, I think, a year and a half ago. And this was Lauren Conrad for HelloFresh, shot on location in Hollywood Hills, a beautiful house that we got to scout and worked with a great team and great set stylists to really sort of make it feel warm and make it feel like home in a bright, beautiful space. And yeah, this is one of my favorite shoots because it's complex, so my brain's like, oh, you're getting to problem solve, you're getting it, it's feeding that need. And a really great team to work with on this. And so, yeah, I really love just the depth and some of the little subtle colors that play throughout.
That's really beautiful. And you did have a lot to problem solve there with the reflections on the stove and the appliances. And I've actually worked with Lauren before, and I know that she has trouble shooting with strobes sometimes. It makes her eyes water. So I don't know if you had that same experience, but
so actually, because on this project, we were actually doing motion and stills at the same time, which can be challenging because sometimes you have to sacrifice the light in one direction or the other. Either the motion's gonna, get sort of cut short, or the still images are gonna not get as much attention as they need because of the lighting. But because of the location that we cast, it was already a super bright space. So then we were able to just enhance that a little bit using, interesting techniques with like Chimera domes on, hot lights or continuous lights to just be able to sort of illuminate the space and not sort of create too many issues for ourselves. We were limited on time, so we were able to piggyback with some B-roll as I'm shooting and then be able to sort of switch in and still get the motion pieces that we needed. So it was again, problem solving.
You did a great job. I mean, she's beautifully lit, and then you have the room behind her beautifully lit. Very nice.
Thank you. And then the last one I will talk about was like another personal project that I just really thought that was interesting to talk about. This was a personal project I did 2 years ago for the AIDS LifeCycle, which is a charity bike ride that takes place every year from San Francisco to LA on a bike, 545 miles. And I did a coffee table book of 125 people who had participated in that ride at some
Wow.
point in the 25 years that it had existed at that time. And so this was just a pure passion project as I was traveling for other projects or other work in New York or Miami, that I would connect with people in those local cities that had participated and photograph them there and then photograph. So 5 or 6 different cities, maybe more than that I got to work with people and meet with people and learn their stories. And so this was one that was sort of just really close to my heart. I participated in the ride, and so I got to connect with a lot of these people. And so it was just something I wanted to do and the stories I
Mhm.
wanted to tell. So, yeah.
Beautiful. I love those. I love how you captured those. I'm gonna have to go back and look at more of these portraits.
Yeah, I just put more up actually.
Oh,
I
nice.
only had like a little collection, a little small sampling, but I added more to the website. So definitely
Beautiful.
something to check out.
Thank you for sharing those with us.
No problem. I'll just
So,
stop sharing.
what would you say? Oh, it's a really weird question to ask right now, but what's next for you?
Um, I mean, that's tough for everyone to answer right now. But I think for me, just trying to maintain some optimism, being connected, having this chat with you and having this chat with my clients and, reaching out to them and seeing what their needs are and how they're problem solving. And if they're reusing old images, or we need to, find, creative ways to create things that are going to be beneficial to them in the meantime. But then as we start to get back out and start to work, that we are approaching it in a way that allows us to be safe, that we have to slow down from the pace we were normally operating at, where we're on set trying to knock out, you know, 20 looks in a day. Maybe we have to cut that in half because, it's like, we're not going to be able to do that safely. So we
Mm-hmm.
have to start to think about those things. And so that's, I mean, at this point, that's all we can do. And that's all I can do is sort of just start to work slowly,
Mm-hmm.
thinking about safety
Mm-hmm.
and, and just staying connected. It's like, what else can we do except for like come together as a community, as a creative community, and see how we can support each other. And I think that's what we should be doing right now.
Yes, and I agree. And it's so beautiful to see how many people are connecting. And I'm noticing this past week how many uh, photo organizations are now starting to do portfolio reviews. There's so much that's being done online, which is amazing because there's so much more access for people who are in different cities. And I was recording a podcast on Friday, and the woman asked me why I got started doing these YouTube videos, and I had no idea. I was like, I have no idea. Besides, I love sharing other photographers' work and promoting anyone I can think of. But then it hit me, oh, I think I really subconsciously need to be connecting with more people right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why I'm doing this. And I think you're right that our clients are craving connection. And I think this is a beautiful time to be reaching out to them and to be problem solving. So I wanted to ask you, it's kind of like marketing. What has been some good marketing techniques that you've used? I know you've tried different things with email marketing and directories. What's really worked great for you?
I mean, I think LinkedIn has been extremely effective.
Mhm.
I try to not just throw a wide net. For me, it's
Mm.
like it's easier and feels more authentic for me to connect with people who brands I genuinely feel connect. Like I identify with what you're selling, or I identify with your brand in a way that then I can be more authentic and be myself when I'm reaching out.
Mhm.
And it's like word of mouth still exists. It's like, I have people who reach out and they're like, oh, I saw your campaign, my friend worked on that. And like that is like, when producers are talking, that's just a great way to just, be good, be a good person. It's like,
Yeah.
I tell people, like young photographers, you never know where someone's going to go in their career. So you could be on set and someone could be an intern, but then, in a year from now, they're the producer, they're the art director. And I was like, you just have to be a good person
That's so
And I
true.
think, the cream rises to the top, and
Yes.
so to me, yeah, so emails and just following up and staying in touch, those to me are, the most genuine ways.
Mm,
And then of course for me, it's like a supplemental. It's like, before all of this, press promo pieces that I would send out. It's just like a reminder. It's like, we were already in
mhm,
communication, but I just want to remind you I'm still here, still
mhm,
creating, still doing things, still active, and still allowing my creativity to evolve, and I want to be able to show that. So, my website, constantly tweaking it, that's
mm,
like the best tool I have. Instagram is a great tool. And I love when I connect with an art director or a producer on Instagram and they follow back. It's just like, oh, we're okay. Now we're like encouraging each other. We're following each other's work.
mhm,
And, it's all about community. And so to me, I look for relationships that already exist and try to see if those people who believe in me, I already know they believe in me because they're working with me, are willing to introduce me to other people. So I think that is just like the best thing I can do
mhm.
from a marketing standpoint.
That's so smart what you said about you never know where someone's going to go next, or, they might be promoted. You might be working with a PA on set this week, and then a year from now, they could be a photo director somewhere. So
Absolutely.
be lovely to everyone you work with is another good rule. So I wanted to also ask you something I ask everyone. What's the best advice that you've ever been given, or what is some great advice that you find yourself giving to other people?
Mm. The best advice that I remember, God, it had to be like 10 or 8 years ago, and I was shopping for new lights, and I already had good strobes, and I was shopping for new lights, and I was at B&H, and I was telling the sales rep that I was like, okay, I want some new lights. I want to be able to do this and this. He's like, why do you feel like you need all of that? It's like, oh, it's like, I don't know. It's like I'm becoming more serious. So I want to be able to like have this more serious gear. And what was really fascinating is he said, do me a favor. He's like, go into a closet, close the door, and wait for the light to find you. And I did. I mean, I tried it. I went home and like, oh yeah, even I'm in a dark room, the light sort of creeps underneath the door and you start to see it sort of touch things. And it's like, I learned to like watch light in a way that was like different than I had seen in the tutorials and books. And it was like, no, learn to watch it and learn to sculpt it. And I think about that all the time. And I tell
Wow.
photographers that I'm like mentoring or teaching that like, it's not about having, yes, Profoto's great and Hensel's great and all these great brands, but like sometimes it's about the lighting you have. Sometimes you don't have those things. So how do you still
Mm,
take what exists and use it? And
mhm.
so that is like, to me, just learn to like watch light. Yeah.
That's beautiful. What kind of salesperson gives you that kind of
I
advice?
know, I
Dang.
know. But I mean, again, and what I ended up doing was just adding on to the kit that I already had. I had good lights, and I've
Mhm.
had the same Hensel lights for 12 years now. And so it's just like, okay,
Wow.
I've just added more onto that, but I continue to use those. And even when I think of trading them in, it's like, they've lasted this long. Why get rid of them now? So
Mhm.
yeah, but yeah, it's like he lost the sale, but like he helped me out in the long run. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Wow. I love that. Thank you again, Cedric, so much for talking with us today. And tell us how we can find you online and on Instagram.
You can find me at cedricterrell.com, Cedric Terrell on Instagram, Cedric Terrell on everything. It's Cedric Terrell.
Okay, perfect. I love that consistency. And I will put those links in the notes. And thanks again to everyone who's watching this video and watching all of our conversations. I would love it if you would subscribe or hit the thumbs up, and maybe share this video with some other photographers who are in quarantine right now and maybe bored and wanting to hear some great advice. Thank you again, Cedric. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Stay safe.